Hey, this is a gray bearded ninja. So we're going to work on using my small fire kit, which simply consists of my Altoids can, and it's going to have some dryer lint and a couple of my wax fire starters. These are all homemade fire starters that I'm using. The reason why I prefer wax fire starters, the way I made these was out of gauze pads dipped in wax, is I really like how long they burn, so I'm not going to be in that big of a hurry to rush around. I always want to prepare my firewood ahead of time, the combustible materials that I'm going to be burning. I'm basically going to build my fire lay. And basically what I'm doing here is kind of just a square setting my combustible material in a square. And this is pretty dry stuff. Again, you want to make sure that you collect your firewood ahead of time and not when you're trying to actually start your fire. You can get these to stay up here. Because what I'm doing is I have a hollowed out area underneath, and I'm just basically building a lean-to. Wood going this way and kind of interweaving going that way. You always want to start small. You don't want to put a lot of large limbs. Depends on how dry your material is. But we're just preparing. We haven't even gotten to the point of wanting to start trying to ignite this. Okay, so put a little bit more on here. So my fire lay, basically I have a hollowed out area right here underneath. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to place a couple of the wax melt. These are gauze pads dipped in wax. They're going to go underneath right here. Actually, I'm going to kind of bend one up a little bit. You can fluff them up if you want to. Now I'm going to put the gauze, or not the gauze, but the dryer lint right here where it can make contact with the fire starters. Now, let me grab my ferro rod out of my pack. We're just going to use the standard ferro rod, and I'll use the spine of the knife to get my sparks. Okay, we're just going to aim it right down here. Okay, so we've got ignition of the dryer lint. And what we're wanting is the wax melt to be ignited. Okay, so we've got ignition. The wax fire starter has begun to burn. I'll just use my knife, kind of push that back up underneath the wood here. And I'll stack this one on. And the thing I like about the wax fire starters is they burn for a long time. I mean, probably a good 10 minutes. I wouldn't be surprised if I timed them. They could burn for, up to 10 minutes. Unlike steel wool and some others, to where, they want to go out real fast. I've got burn time with these wax melts. I use the wax melt and I dip the gauze pad in it. So basically, this is pretty dry wood. The nice thing is that the wax fire starters stay ignited for so long, and they put off such a good fire flame that it takes no time to go ahead and ignite my campfire here, or my survival fire, whatever you want to refer to it as. And then we can simply start stacking more of our sticks. And you'll see that it's definitely catching. Dry stuff, this is all good. We're getting a good little fire going here. And just kind of let it go. You don't want to overdo it or overwhelm it right off the bat. But let it catch fire and gradually increase the limbs and the branches that you're burning. Let me zoom up on it so you can see it a little bit better. And the interesting thing is looking underneath it, the wax fire starters are still burning. They haven't been completely consumed. So basically what we did is we used a ferro rod to start the fire. We used the ferro rod to ignite the dryer lint, which in turn ignited the wax fire starters, which created an extended amount of flame time, burn time, which obviously easily ignited the dry limbs and tinder that we put on onto our fire. But keep in mind, I kept it hollowed out underneath, so there's plenty of oxygen, and it was able to ignite. Heat rises, so we basically built a lean-to of sticks to allow us to get that burn. So we were able to start a fire without a lighter, without matches, without gasoline or anything else like that. It's that simple, folks. Now, it does get more complicated when things are wet, under wet conditions. Right now we're in wintertime, dry conditions. And there's no moisture out here. Everything is dry right now. So that is another way to start your fire.